You felt it before, that strange moment when you walk away from a conversation and something doesn't sit right. You agreed to something you didn't fully understand. You doubted yourself, even though you were sure just moments earlier. And the unsettling part? Nothing obvious happened. No shouting, no pressure, no force. Just a few words, a certain tone, a carefully timed pause. Here's the truth most people never realize. The most powerful individuals don't control others through force. They control perception. They don't tell you what to think. They guide you to believe it was your idea all along. And once that happens, resistance disappears. You start adjusting your behavior without questioning why. You start seeking their approval without noticing how it began. This isn't luck. This isn't charisma alone. This is psychological strategy. Subtle, calculated, and often invisible. And once you see it, you won't be able to unsee it again. Before we go deeper, I want to be clear. Everything discussed on this channel is strictly for educational purposes. Understanding dark psychology is about building awareness, not weaponizing it. If you or someone you know is in a harmful situation, please seek support from a licensed professional. This is a space for growth, clarity, and protection. Nothing else. Let's define what we're really talking about. Dark psychology tactics are subtle behavioral strategies used to influence thoughts, emotions, and decisions, often without the other person realizing it. These tactics don't always look aggressive. In fact, the most effective ones rarely do. They show up in everyday life. At work, when someone subtly shifts responsibility onto you. In relationships, when your emotions are quietly redirected. In social settings, when group pressure shapes your decisions. Imagine this scenario. You're in a meeting. You suggest an idea. It gets ignored. Minutes later, someone else repeats the same idea, but phrases it slightly differently. Suddenly everyone agrees. You feel confused. Maybe even question yourself. Did I not explain it well? But here's what actually happened. Your perception was quietly influenced. These tactics work because they don't attack you directly. They operate beneath your awareness. And that's exactly why understanding them matters. Because once you recognize the pattern, you stop being controlled by it. Layer 1, the illusion of choice. At the surface level, powerful individuals rarely force decisions. They offer options. But here's the detail most people miss. Both options lead to the same outcome. Psychologically, this creates a sense of control. You feel like you're choosing, but the path was already designed. Example, someone asks, "Do you want to handle this now or later today?" It sounds harmless. But notice what's missing. The option to not do it at all. Why this matters? When you recognize this pattern, you begin to question the frame, not just the options. And that's where real control returns to you. Layer 2, emotional anchoring. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Influence isn't just about logic. It's about emotion. Powerful individuals attach feelings to ideas. Confidence, fear, urgency. Once an emotion is linked to a decision, your brain prioritizes the feeling over facts. Example, someone presents a risky idea, but delivers it with absolute certainty and calmness. You start associating confidence with correctness, even if the logic isn't strong. Why this matters? If you don't separate emotion from information, you can be led without realizing it. Recognizing the feeling behind the message helps you see clearly again. Layer 3, gradual conditioning. Most people stop here, but you need to understand the deepest layer. Real influence doesn't happen in one moment. It builds over time. Small agreements, minor compromises, tiny shifts in behavior. Each step feels insignificant, but together, they reshape your thinking. Example, someone first asks for a small favor, then a slightly bigger one, then something that crosses your comfort zone. By that point, saying no feels difficult. Not because you can't, but because your behavior has already been conditioned. Why this matters? Awareness at the early stage prevents control at the later stage. The sooner you notice the pattern, the easier it is to protect yourself. Here's the part most people don't expect. These tactics don't work because others are powerful. They work because of how the human mind is wired. We all seek certainty. We all respond to emotion. We all prefer easy decisions over difficult ones. That's not weakness. That's human psychology. But here's the shift. The moment you become aware of these patterns, they lose their automatic power over you. You start noticing the structure behind conversations, the intention behind certain words, the subtle pressure behind harmless suggestions, and suddenly, what once felt natural now feels deliberate. This is the real advantage, not controlling others, but no longer being unconsciously controlled. Now let's turn awareness into protection. First, pause before responding. When you feel emotional pressure or urgency, pause. Even a few seconds can break automatic reactions and give you clarity. Second, question the frame. Don't just choose between options. Ask yourself, what's missing here? This helps you see beyond controlled choices. Third, separate emotion from message. Notice how something is said, not just what is said. If a strong emotion is being triggered, step back and evaluate the logic independently. Fourth, track behavioral patterns. Instead of focusing on one interaction, observe repeated behaviors over time. Patterns reveal intention far more clearly than isolated moments. These strategies don't make you defensive. They make you aware. And awareness is where real control begins. Think about the last time you agreed to something, even though a part of you hesitated. Now ask yourself, which of these patterns do you recognize in that moment? Was it the illusion of choice, emotional pressure, or gradual conditioning? Your answer might reveal more than you expect. The most powerful tactics are not loud. They are subtle, consistent, and often invisible. But once you understand them, they stop controlling you, and that changes everything. In our next video, we're going to uncover a behavior pattern that quietly destroys confidence over time. And most people never realize it's happening. If this gave you something to think about, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you want to keep learning the psychology, most people never